Hello and welcome to our question and answer session here on Facebook, or to Mizzou, the Chicago Connection. My name is Sherry Gann. I'm the recruitment coordinator in the School of Health Professions, and I'm joined today with 3 of our student ambassadors from the Chicagoland area. So let's meet them, learn why they came to Mizzou from Chicago, and take some questions that we've had submitted. So students, tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, what you're studying here at Mizzou. We'll start with Taylor.
All right, so my name is Taylor Littner. I'm from Mundelein, Illinois. I am studying health sciences and I'm on the pre-PA route, and I also have minors in Spanish and psychology as well.
And PA is?
PA is physician assistant.
Perfect, thanks. Candace.
My name is Candace Jennings, and I'm from Linwood, Illinois. I'm studying health science with an emphasis in rehabilitation science on the physical therapy track with minors in psychology and wellness.
Good, thank you. Anthony.
My name is Anthony Skinner. I am a senior here at Mizzou, and I'm studying radiography.
All right, thank you very much. So why did you come to Mizzou from Chicago? We'll just start with Anthony and come back.
So for me, the reason I chose to come to Mizzou was because of my major. I already knew what I wanted to go into, and so as I was researching schools, I was wide open. I was looking at schools that were in-state, I was looking at schools that were out-of-state, everywhere. But I looked at Mizzou, I liked the distance, I looked at different scholarships that I could apply for. I got in contact with the director of my program that I was going to be applying to when I came here. And once I came to visit the campus, I was pretty much sold on it. I loved it, and it was here ever since.
Great. Candace, how about you?
I toured a bunch of colleges in Illinois, and it just didn't feel like home, and then I ventured out into Missouri, and I toured Mizzou, and I loved it, so I just applied here.
Very good. Taylor?
And similar to Candace, I also was visiting a whole bunch of different schools, and when I did come to Mizzou, I got kind of this warm, fuzzy feeling on the inside that it just kind of felt like home, and I couldn't really see myself anywhere else but here.
Well, how do you make friends here? One of the questions we've had submitted is, will I be able to make friends at Mizzou? And I'll ask this, do you ever run into anyone from Chicago? Candace, I'm going to go to you first.
Absolutely. I met my best friend to this day freshman year on my floor in my dorm. We've been close ever since then, and yes, you're going to run into so many people from Chicago. Like, Chicago is the feeder state of Illinois.
We call it the state of Chicago, right? Yes. Will there be events to connect students with other students from the Chicagoland area? All 3 of you can weigh in on any way that you've connected with students from back home. Anthony?
There are different events. I would say not just specifically for Chicago, but just to meet students everywhere. I mean, we have different functions like in the rec center, kind of like around campus, on the quad, basically everywhere to kind of like get you meeting new people from everywhere. So it's pretty interesting.
Taylor?
I've also noticed that in classes, when you do your little introduction and you're talking, they'll ask you, your name and then where you're from, and then whenever I say, oh, I'm from northern suburbs of Chicago, everyone's like, where? So am I. So then you kind of get to chat a little bit on that and meet some people that are from similar areas.
Okay, so how do you get connected in the School of Health Professions? What are some of the different opportunities that you found, ways to get connected? We'll start with Taylor.
Okay, so one of the ways that I got myself involved in the School of Health Professions is through Sigma Eta Rho. Sigma Eta Rho is a professional fraternity for the School of Health Professions, and in that organization we do different volunteering things, we do different things where we work on professional development, and we also have some things called like study socials where you go and they got some food and you work on your homework, and a lot of times there are other people in my classes that are in SCR, which is short for Sigma Eta Rho, with me, and so we'll work on homework together and stuff like that.
Oh, that sounds good. Candace?
I joined the pre-physical therapy organization, so we got to do a lot of volunteer work and venturing into the community as well as on campus, and doing volunteer work off campus with adaptive gymnastics. That's a part of it. So, yeah.
And well, so for me, getting involved in meeting new people within the School of Health Professions, I did 2 things. I joined Sigma Eta Rho, which was the School of Health Professions co-ed fraternity, and I also became a School of Health Professions ambassador. So I would say those are 2 really big ways to get involved and meet new people. Both have afforded me really great opportunities. I mean, I've learned so much with like professional development and just overall how to become like a well-rounded student and different things like that. So those are the 2 main ways I got involved.
Okay, so I want to ask how homesick do you get? You're a bit of a distance from home. Tell us about that and how often you go back home, how you get rides home, just that general topic of getting back to Chicago. Get your Chi-Town fix.
So for me, honestly, I feel like every student, I didn't think I would get homesick at all. I was just like, I'm going to college and I'm away from my family, yes. But you don't realize how much you take for granted being at home. Because it is different being on your own and like your parents being a phone call away instead of, just like down the street. So I mean, yeah, I do get homesick, but dealing with it, I just call my parents all the time. And as far as like getting home, there's, like we said, there's a plethora of students from Chicago. And so when you start meeting with people, there's a, hey, I'm going home this weekend. And so, hey, can I hitch a ride? So I think that's one of the main ways I get home. Or now that I'm older, I just drive home now. So that's a lot easier. And then I think that's it. As far as, I go home. For me, I would say I go home about 2 to 3 times a year. My program is it goes throughout the entire 2 years, so I'm able to go home that often, but I do when I can, so probably like 2 or 3 times a year.
I go home for the big breaks, for the most part. Sometimes I go occasionally on a weekend, depending on what my family has planned. But as for getting home, originally freshman year, my parents would come and pick me up from my dorm and take me back home, so that's a super long trip for them. But now I drive home, but I did use the Facebook Chicago Ride page, which anybody can sign up and say, hey, I need to go to the Chicagoland area this day. Is anyone riding back? And someone that may be going back that day might offer to take you home in exchange for some gas money or snacks.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I actually, when I was coming to college, I was really nervous I was going to be homesick. So unlike you, I was like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave my family. And when I came to Mizzou, surprisingly, I wasn't homesick. I didn't want to come home my whole freshman year for the most part. I was having so much fun and things that I was getting involved in on campus and meeting new people in classes and stuff like that. And I honestly, like I said before, the reason why I came to Mizzou is because this felt like a new home for me, and that just really helped out. Going off the different ways to travel back and forth, I also have done the ride shares. Another thing is that there is an airport in Columbia, and so they have direct flights to O'Hare. I've done that a couple times as well. And they also, if you'd like to fly out of St. Louis or Kansas City, we do have something called MOX, and that is transportation to those airports that if you don't have a car, you can still get there back and forth.
So I'm going to take all 3 of you all the way back to your freshman year. 2 seniors and a junior back your freshman year. So what was something you did as a freshman that was so much fun and it was a Mizzou moment for you, if you would? All right. Should we start with Candace, because she's not quite so far back? Give these older students time to think. I know, right?
Well, one of the main things I did as a freshman was myself and 3 other people from my floor, we would go downstairs to our dorm kitchen, and we would have family dinners since we were so far from home. All of us, 2 of us were from Chicago, 1 was from St. Louis, and another one was from Kansas City. So we all kind of went downstairs and did a potluck, and we would be down there till 2 in the morning.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you ever study?
Yes, we did. We studied together actually in our study room.
Okay, well that sounds pretty good. Though you don't study all the time.
Not all the time, but enough to get me great grades to get into a great profession.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Taylor.
So something that I did, I'm thinking way back, and I thought of it. So Tiger Walk.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
And so Tiger Walk is your freshman year. Is what it is that all the freshmen, they stand on the side more towards the downtown area of Columbia, and they walk through the columns towards Jesse Hall. And I thought that was really cool because that's signifying that you're joining the community and you're coming in. And now I'm looking forward to my senior year when we go the other way, as in that we're leaving the university and that we're going to show the world that what Mizzou's done to us.
Or for you.
Or for me, right now, sorry.
That's okay.
That was my Mizzou moment. I am not changing it. I love Tiger Walk. Like she said, I loved everything that it stood for. It actually signifies you coming into the university, and then once you're you're a senior, you run out, and it signifies you leaving and going into the real world. Like, I just love what that stood for, and I mean, it seems kind of cheesy at first running through the college, but you realize how excited everyone is about it, and how excited they are to come to Mizzou and be a part of the family. So that was definitely my defining moment. I was like, I love this place.
Plus, there's ice cream, the Tiger
I
Stripe
know,
ice
the
cream.
Tiger
Yeah.
Stripe you can't beat, which
No.
was invented here at Mizzou.
And it's really
It's
good.
great ice cream.
Awesome.
Great ice cream.
So I'm going to ask you one more question along these lines from our questions submitted, and then some students wanted to know about programs, so I'm going to ask you about your programs. But what's your favorite spot at Mizzou and why? Anthony, I'll let you go first this
okay.
time so Taylor won't steal it.
My favorite spot on Mizzou is definitely, I would probably say the quad. I mean, it's very cliche, but the quad is honestly amazing. Like, I just love it. There's always so much energy going through there. It's usually, for a lot of people to walk through there, it's usually pretty quiet, and I enjoy studying there, and it's just so serene being outside next to Jesse and the columns on like a really nice day. Nothing beats it. I get so much done there. I love it.
Candace?
It's actually changed since the last time we talked about
Oh.
this, but the downstairs portion of the student center, because they have free massages and these comfy couches that you can take naps on, and I get so much work done down there, but sometimes there's the occasional person snoring, so.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah,
They're happy.
they are.
Taylor?
So mine's actually upstairs in the student center because that's where the food is. No, but so yeah, they've got really good food options in the student center that you can get, and also I like it because there's booths that you can sit in to do your homework, and they have regular tables that you can sit in and do your homework, and it's a great meeting place to meet with people from class if you're working on a group project or something like that, or if you just kind of need to get some work done and you're not ready to go straight to the library. It's a little bit more relaxed than that.
So someone wanted to know about studying abroad. So in your different programs, are there study abroad options, or have you studied abroad? Anyone can jump in on that.
I mean, I was gonna say, I know it is possible to study abroad in my program, but it's not specific to radiography. So you can do like I know one of my friends in the program actually studied abroad in New Zealand over winter break, and she took like I think like a business class, and she said, and it was for business students. Like there were so many health profession students in it, but just because our program is the last 2 years, we really can't study abroad. But your freshman and sophomore year, of course, you are able to do so. So that's when I would utilize it the most.
Sounds good.
I studied abroad as well. I did not study abroad through the School of Health Professions. I actually took finished up my Spanish minor abroad, and I studied in Oviedo, Spain. And I did that over the summer going into my junior year. Yeah, I did it this summer going into my junior year, and it was awesome. There's a whole bunch of different people advisors and whatnot that you can talk to, and they can figure out which classes to take, and where are you going to stay, because I stayed with the host family. So they really helped me decide on how to figure out all that stuff.
All right, very good. What about each of your programs? I'd like to have each of you tell me a little bit about the pathway you're on. So we have physician assistant, physical therapy, radiography, why you chose that particular path, what drew you to Mizzou for those studies. So you can just kind of generally tell our students who are watching in and families about the programs. We'll do a little education that way. Okay?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
Sorry. So I am pre-physician assistant, and the University of Missouri in Columbia does not have a PA program, but there's so many reasons as to why I chose Mizzou, even that I knew that. So I'm a health science major, and when I came in, and I actually met with Sherry when I was in high school still, and she told me about how the health science degree basically has so much flexibility, and it has so much room to get those prereqs in that I needed for PA school, and to get different classes that if I wanted to pick up some minors like I did. And so that's why I decided to go health science, because I felt, not only did I feel like I was at home at Mizzou, but I felt like I could flourish academically in the health science degree, that I could get everything done that I needed to do. Am I missing a question?
I don't think
Okay.
so. I think that was wonderful. It was a nice trip down memory lane for me, too.
Well, kind of picking back off of that, that's also the reason why I chose Mizzou for the School of Health Professions program, because the health science degree in general is so flexible. We're pursuing the same degree and going completely opposite directions, and I liked how I could use this as my stepping stone to get into physical therapy school, but also I could use it if I want to pursue wellness or nutrition or fitness, which is another one of my interests, which is why I'm pursuing a minor in it. Just knowing that I can really kind of do whatever, and getting my water, testing the waters and seeing like, okay, what do I really want to do? Because I knew I always wanted to go into healthcare, but really what drove me to physical therapy was my brother dislocated his knee for the 3rd time. And yeah, and I helped him with his physical therapy, and after like so many months into it, I was like, this is really cool. So I shadowed, and after that I loved it.
What do you think is the coolest aspect of our physical therapy program?
The facility in itself, because we have Mizzou, which is our pro bono clinic. Just the fact that people that may have maxed out their insurance or don't have insurance, they can still come to this clinic and receive the help that they need. And then it's also that one-on-one time that I'm getting, as well, soon to be getting to work with a patient under the guidance of a licensed physical therapist that can say like, they need to do this exercise because of this. And it's more hands-on learning, which is my favorite type of learning.
Well, speaking of that, Anthony, you've had a lot of that
Yeah.
already. How many patient contact hours will you graduate with?
We'll graduate with around 1,500. We do well over 1,000 clinical hours.
So tell
From the
us how
start
that
of the
works in your
program.
program.
Well, for me, what basically drew me here was the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, I knew that I wanted to go into radiography. So I basically I came here, I met with the director of the program, and she basically told me everything. I had a list of questions. I wanted to know what could I do with this degree, because I had a long-term goal. My long-term end goal is to be a radiation therapist, and so I talked to her. I wanted to know, like, will this degree make me marketable? What other modalities can I go in? Can I do CT with this degree? Can I do MRI with this degree? Can I be a radiation therapist with this degree? She answered all of my questions, told me about all the clinical hours that I'd be getting here, which is by far my favorite part of the program, is actually being in the hospitals or different clinics and working with patients, doing what I'm going to be doing once I graduate. So for me, that was like my main selling point with that. I knew that these contact hours would best prepare me for the working world, and no other school that I looked at had as many extensively. So for me, that was
Well,
it.
and speaking of that, both you and Taylor actually work for MU Healthcare.
Yeah.
So Mizzou is an academic healthcare campus, and that means we have teaching hospitals in addition to nursing, medicine, and health profession schools. So why don't you each tell us about your jobs that you have with MU Healthcare?
Okay, that's funny because when he was going to finish, I was going to be like, wait, can I say one more thing why I chose? And it was going to be because of the opportunities,
See?
right? Yeah. So I actually work at the Mizzou Quick Care Clinics right now. So I'm a patient service representative, and what I do there is I check people in, I take their insurance, I take their co-pays, get them all registered, and then on top of that, I take their vitals, ask them what's going on, and then I'm able to go and talk to the provider, whether it's a nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, or a medical doctor or a doctor physician. And I let them know what's going on, and then they go in and they get, whether it's a strep test, a flu test, or for a urine analysis or anything along those lines, and I'm actually able to run those tests, and then I show the results to the provider. So I think that's really cool because I get a lot of experience with working professionally with communicating with providers as long as with patients, and also getting to run tests and stuff like that.
Well, through my program here, a lot of the clinical sites that you're at will usually hire the students to work part-time, is what we like to call student techs. And this is good because during clinicals, you're always under direct supervision, and so you're never with a patient alone. But whereas when you're working as a student tech, you have much more independence. So you actually are working as an actual x-ray tech, actually taking the x-rays, working with the patients, and getting those images to the doctors. And so I like to tell people, all the students all the time, it's like an interview every single day. They're looking at are you showing up on time to clinicals? How do you work with these patients? Just what's your overall persona like just when interacting with different people? And so that's definitely one of the biggest takeaways from this program, is definitely being able to work as a student tech. And then I have multiple job offers lined up once I graduate as well, so that's nice.
Already have job offers.
Already.
That's fantastic. You don't graduate till May.
Don't graduate until May. So.
That's wonderful. Well, one student, this kind of actually goes back before this question, but one student wanted to know about why you chose specifically the School of Health Professions within Mizzou.
Okay.
So whoever wants to jump in on that.
Okay, so I can go first. So like I was saying earlier, how I had met with Sherry before I came to Mizzou, and she had made me feel welcome and all those good things. She was making me feel that I can get the experience that I needed, and I needed to take the classes that I was going to need to get done. And on top of that, once I came to Mizzou, that warm, fuzzy feeling continued, whether it be with my advisors or my professors through the School of Health Professions, and that just really shows me that they care about me, and they care that they want me to succeed, because if I succeed, then they're doing their job right.
Well, I chose SHP because overall, to get into physical therapy school, you can really have whatever degree as long as you meet the prerequisites. And I chose the School of Health Professions specifically because I wanted a more broad view of what is healthcare, and that is exactly what this degree gives me. It's given me the tools to look at what is insurance, what are some of the clinical, ethical things that I'll see in day-to-day living and working, and knowing like, okay, your patient feels like this. How do you cope with that? Knowing that you feel ethically about the problem, and putting your issues aside to say, hey, at the end of the day, I still need to help you. I think it's just really great, and I wouldn't have gotten that experience in another school. So.
Wonderful, thank you. Anthony?
For me, I think I chose the School of Health Professions mainly because of just how reputable the programs are. Like when you go around the city of Columbia, you see how many people have graduated from this program. And so within the SHP, all of the programs are allied health. So, you know, it's different. For most people think, oh, you either have to be like a doctor or a nurse to go into healthcare. But there's so many other things. SHP has all of them. All of the faculty and the staff work with you to make sure that you're doing well. Advising is another big thing. My advisor is absolutely amazing. I think they're the best advisors on campus personally, but just overall the resources that SHP offers, from everything to get from organizations to being able to get involved in different things. I just think SHP is the best. So
You guys are going to love this question. So you're from Chicago, so you're from the city, although you're all from out in the burbs. But someone said, why would I want to come to Missouri? Isn't it just a bunch of cornfields?
Oh gosh.
What about Missouri? What about Columbia? Columbia's a hip little town.
yeah, see, I mean, I will say it's different from being in the city. I mean, it's because I've never lived in a college town, and I never realized how different it was until I actually stayed the summer here and realized how everyone just leaves when somebody it's like, oh wow, this is actually like a town. There's people that live here aside from college students. But I mean, Columbia, it's considered a small town, but I don't think it is.
I think it's big.
It's pretty big. It's a pretty big college town. We have everything here too.
Yeah.
You know, like we have all the restaurants that everyone goes to back at home. There's honestly not much back at home that isn't here except the food in Chicago. But other than that, I would say I crave it all the time.
But there's Shakespeare's pizza.
There's Shakespeare's, which is pretty good.
Yes.
You can get Giordano's delivered on dry ice.
It doesn't feel like somewhere that's isolated. It honestly feels like a normal town to me.
I think there's so much more to do in Columbia outside of the University of Missouri as well. Like, there's different places if you want to go hiking, or if you want to just go out and like Stevens Lake. I don't know if you guys ever been to Stevens Lake. I really enjoy going on bike rides over there and taking the trails out. The Pinnacles, if any of you guys have ever gone over there. There's just so much more to Columbia if you need to get out of the school aspect of it and just kind of let yourself free a little bit and explore.
I think it's awesome. Just knowing, like when I visited Mizzou, I didn't just visit like campus, but I visited the surroundings of Columbia, and just gave me that down south vibe. So that's why I was like, this is nice.
Like the Waffle Houses?
Yeah.
It's like, I've never seen these
We have
here.
a lot of those. And Zaxby's, that's definitely
Yeah.
an SEC kind of thing. All right, someone asked here about the affordability of going to school out of state. So who of you has established residency? Okay. Okay, tell us about that.
So when I was looking at different colleges and stuff, I had noticed that when I was looking at schools that were in Illinois, that in-state tuition was quite pricey. And when I came to Mizzou, the out-of-state tuition seemed very comparable to the in-state tuition at Illinois school. So then when I was visiting and I had noticed that there wasn't that big of a difference, I also was introduced to the idea of residency. So what I did was I became a Missouri resident, which was super easy. I just stayed the summer after my freshman year, and I worked. I had 2 jobs at Ruby Tuesdays and Texas Roadhouse, and I had earned $2,000 and stayed for the summer. And yeah, now I'm a Missouri resident, and I get in-state tuition, and it is extremely helpful in paying for college and all that, because you know it adds up really fast.
And you also registered to vote.
Yes,
And
yeah.
got a Missouri driver's license.
Yes, I got a license as well.
Okay. And your parents couldn't claim you on their income tax
No.
during that year.
No, but they can
But they
claim
can
you
now.
on the years afterwards. They can claim you, but they just can't claim you on that 1 year. My mom
That
was
one
like,
year.
yeah.
All right, guys, one last question. I want each of you to answer. Are you happy with your choice to be a Mizzou Tiger, and why?
Who wants to go first? Because I can go on
Anthony?
forever.
Absolutely. Like that's the biggest decision I think I've ever made. It's the best one I've ever made. Truly, I've met so many friends here. I've been afforded so many opportunities that I don't think I would have had I not chose to come here for school. It's amazing. I really do not regret my choice at all. I love Mizzou and I'm ready to graduate.
Candace?
Absolutely. I love it here at Mizzou. I wouldn't have it any other way. That's why I only applied to Mizzou. I wouldn't suggest doing that, but get your options out. But I knew that this is where I wanted to go, and I just kind of put counted my chickens before they hatched.
You're excited to graduate? I'm not excited. Well, I'm excited because I'm graduating, but I was just talking with my friends this morning that I'm sad to leave Mizzou. And that's how I know I made the right choice, is that I'm sad to leave a place that I've grown so close to. There's so many different opportunities, like everyone has been saying here, that you can get in Columbia and through the University of Missouri. And I just have grown so much as a person. I've learned so much about myself, and I've learned so much about other people. And on top of it, I've gotten really good at studying. So I figured that. Yeah, exactly. So you do really grow, and yeah, I know I'm gonna be sad.
I still got another year.
You'll have to come back and visit.
Yes, I.
Thank you so much for joining us today to talk to our students in Chicagoland. Come on down to Mizzou. Let's see if these guys can do the cheer. MIZ!
ZLU!
Thanks so much for watching.